So I'm starting to record right now, just to let everyone know. So if you need to drop off or yeah, you're having issues, you could always listen at another time, and I'll be sending everyone the link and the slides as well for your reference. So yeah, thank you for taking the time. Hopefully, you know, we should be done in under an hour. But I just want to introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth. This is my third iAwards now. And I'd also like to introduce Gary Buck, who is our iAwards Chief Judge, who's sort of taken on the baton from Fulvio and Sarah. So welcome, Gary, as well. Thanks for leading this year.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, I've been with the iAwards for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now. I spent 30 years with BHP, and I'm now sort of semi-retired, and Fulvio convinced me this was really not that big a task, but I'm beginning to think I've been fooled into it. But the good news is it's Liz that does all the hard work. So
well, I'm glad you're here, Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I also want to welcome judges who are also recurring every year. You guys do a great commitment in judging the iAwards, so we really couldn't do it without you guys as well. It's a big team effort. And I also want to welcome the new judges this year, and just a shout out, we've got, and I'm sorry if I pronounce people's names wrong, we've got Nabin Sharma from UTS, we've got Mick Mesha from DXC Technology, we've got Jonathan McLean-Dolphin from Norgate McLean-Dolphin Lawyers, and Pamela Illich from Cognizant. So thank you so much to everyone. We've got 65 judges this year. And we'll have entries will close officially tomorrow, but I think we'll have around 195 entries nationally, so that's fantastic. So thanks to everyone's support in the program, and also getting entrants to enter as well. So I'm just trying to flick to the next slide, and here we go, next. Alrighty, so here's the agenda. So we're going to go through a bit of the iAwards journey, the category structures, which pretty much the same as last year. We have changed a few categories this year though. The judging structure, the judging timelines, our processes around judging for round one, the assessment criteria, scoring of nominations, final tips, and the next steps. And we'll leave room for questions at the end. So if a question comes in, you can put it in the chat box, or we can open up for the microphones at the end as well. But if there is anything, feel free to jump in. We don't mind as well. Okay, so the iAwards journey. Most of you guys know this, but for the newbies, we're kind of in stage one at the moment. Entries are about to close. And then this round that you guys will be judging is the state round. So we'll be judging entries in their state, and people will be competing within their state. Then we go on to the state iAwards Gala Dinner, which happens between May and June. And then we know that the state winners and merits become our national finalists. And then we celebrate in Melbourne in August at the National iAwards. So that's based on a 10-minute pitch to judges. So most people come down to Melbourne to that pitch, and then we also have a pitch fest as well, which is the public-facing side of the program. Then we finish off with the National Gala Dinner, where we announce the national winners. And this year, our last leg is the national round, and that's when our national winners will go to a picture. And this year it's in Vietnam, which is really exciting. So I'll just go through the categories really quickly and the structure, so just to refresh your memory. So we kind of have 3 tiers of judging, sorry, 3 tiers of categories. So our first categories is the core market categories. So everyone who is an organisation must select one of these 5 categories. And then they progress down to choosing a technology category. And we've rejigged the names here. So we've got Data Insights of the Year this year. Last year it was called Big Data. And we've also renamed Automation Technologies, and previous years that was Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. So if applicants, when they're entering, if they don't fit into one of those 3 technology categories, there's an option for them to select a general technology category. Because we'll go further down in the presentation, the tech scores will actually feed into the core category scores, but this is just the structure for the entrance to enter.
Liz, let me just jump in there a sec.
Yeah.
I guess part of the difficulty we have with the cross-technology categories each year is if you sort of need them to move with the way the industry is moving, but you need to keep them general enough so that you don't have to change them every year. And so we've tried to make the titles a bit broader this year so that they should be applicable for a number of years. But sort of like the data one, you know, we had quite a debate last year. Is it just big data, or is it analysis of the big data, or is it? So we thought of it's data insights. It's sort of it's big data and using the big data and the implications of using the big data. So that's the flavour of it.
Awesome, thanks, Gary. Yeah, so then we go on to the stage, and this is also an optional category for entrants to choose. We've got R&D or Startup of the Year. And Startup of the Year are for organisations who have registered their business from 2016. So they have to be less than 3 years old to be part of that category. And then we move on to the student categories. So we've got the junior students from any age up until year 9. We've got senior students from years 10 to 12, and then undergraduate students who have to be enrolled either in uni or TAFE or some sort of tertiary education.
All right, I'll cover this one, Liz.
Yeah.
So I mean, this next slide or two, to me, they look more complicated than they really are. Essentially, all the judges are put into panels, and the panels have a lead judge, and a number of those then have a category judge and a chief judge. I guess from a practical point of view, all it really matters is there is quite a hierarchy, but that doesn't mean you have to go up necessarily in orders, but it means that if there are issues, there are people to help resolve issues that have done this stuff before. So I think one of the main things I like to say to people in this sort of section is really to say it's really important if you're concerned about something, you're not sure how things work, there are people to ask. Feel free if you're judging, especially if you haven't judged before. Most of it's straightforward, but sometimes some things just don't seem to make sense. So you have a lead judge you can talk to, and those lead judges have category judges. And if all else fails, you can ask me, and I then go and ask Liz, who knows the answers to everything. I guess there's a couple of little bits and pieces along the way. I mean, this first stage, which is the state stage, is all done online. And so it's sort of, you can sit at home and do it quietly on your laptop. One of the things we've sort of debated over the years about how much collaboration do people do. I always think it's worth the lead judge flicking an email to the judges in their panel at the start, just to at least so everyone's got one another's email addresses. Occasionally you have issues, towards the end when the lead judge has got to work out who the winner is. I'm a great believer. You let the system will work it out for you, but then you've actually got to go through and see where it makes sense. And sometimes it looks there's one judge may have picked up something different to all the other judges, so it's worth having a bit of dialogue, even if it is only via email backwards and forwards. But at least it gives people the opportunity to do that. There's a couple other, I guess, important things to note. Is one thing is around confidentiality. It is critical to the integrity of the whole system that we actually do maintain the confidentiality. So when you do know things, you do have to keep it to yourself and make sure no one knows, especially any of the applicants. The other thing I always say when you're doing this judging, it doesn't matter if you're a hard judge or an easy judge, as long as you try and do it consistently. So I'm someone who actually, when I do scoring, you score different sections out of 10. I don't have a problem if someone gives quite a spread of marks from like 2 through to 8 or 9 or 10. As long as you're consistently hard or consistently soft, that's quite okay, and it works itself through in the process. Is there anything else there I've missed, Liz, that you wanted me to cover?
we have assigned lead judge roles, and I'll be communicating tomorrow, hopefully, everyone's panel allocations and who we've nominated as the lead judges. But I just really want to emphasize the role of the lead judges and how they're really sort of, I guess they're there to support the panel, but also I'll be leaning a lot to them as well to sign off the final scoring and to really help me with the final checks to make sure that who we're going to award is the right winner, basically.
Yeah, so I guess what typically happens is the system will say this is who we think the winner is. The lead judge then has to be satisfied that is the right answer. And I mean, that in a lot of cases is very straightforward, but sometimes if you flick your eyes down the marks, you will see that, you know, you might have two or three of your judges strongly favouring one and hating another, and the others might have flipped the other way. So if that's the case, Liz will give you a call and say, let's have a look through this and work out, you know, does it make sense? Did someone pick up something the others missed? Or, you know, let's try and work out why the difference is there. So, yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, Gary, I've added this.
Oh, I was going to say, I've never seen this slide before. Go on.
So we were just asked to talk about diversity. So I just wanted to sort of give you an update on how we're looking with, I guess, the number of female judges in our program. So we certainly got more judges this year in terms of females, and we've got a good balance of male to female lead judges, which is great. So that's pretty much
yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's sort of heading more of the balanced numbers. Actually, I don't know what, it always surprises me in the IT industry that it's not more 50-50. You know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay.
So we made a conscious effort this year to and making sure that everyone's, you know, skilled as well, but just to allocate how we do the panel allocations. It's well balanced, that everyone complements each other, and we've actually given everyone their first preference, which is great for the panels that they're into. So yeah, I think we've got a good mix happening.
Yep, well done, Liz.
Okay, back to you.
I guess probably if you take away anything today, this is probably the most critical bit. The bit we have trouble with almost every year is this timeline. And the problem we have is we have dates very locked in. So we have award nights locked in and are absolutely set. You can't change them. So everything feeds back from there. And what we've tried to do this year is allow everyone 2 full weekends to do their judging. Now, we know everyone's got real jobs and everyone tries to do this when they can. We decided if you've got 2 full weekends, even though you might only have, I guess, just on 10 days in total, you've got 2 weekends. So I'd ask if you block out that March 20th through till 1st of April period, that's when all the judging has to happen. Then if you see there, you can see there's a week for the lead judge to sign everything off. So that's, you know, for all the people who become lead judges, that might be a very easy affair. It might mean you've got to make a few phone calls, and you may even have to get a few people together to try and resolve the winner for your group. The next bit is also very difficult and time consuming. There's a, you know, from the 8th of April through the 17th, we have to actually do reference checks. Now, the difficulty we have always with reference checks is getting hold of people in a timely fashion. The entrants have all been told they have to provide referees, and we've been very specific about what they've got to do. One of the slight changes we've made this year is we've actually given the lead judge some prerogative not to actually do full reference checking on everyone. Typically, the ones that need the reference checks are the ones that are the more marginal ones. And we're saying we'd rather people focus on getting those and checking those. I know in the past I've done some reference checks on ones that you know from the presentation, you know from your own industry knowledge, you know from people who are judging that the entrant is a solid entrant. They really are saying what they are saying is true. It's pretty rock solid. They're the ones that need less effort than the ones that are new ones we've never heard of in an industry we're not sure of. So we really need the lead judges to go through that. If they've got time to reference check all of them, I'd be delighted if they check every one. But if they don't, if they're not going to miss, if they're going to miss any, miss the one. Think about which ones you're going to do, because typically the ones that are the hardest to get the referees for are the ones that are more questionable ones. You know, lo and behold, they're the ones the guy's travelling, he's overseas, they can't get hold of them, all those sorts of things. So it's really important you spend those, whatever it is, 9-10 days doing the reference checks on as many as you can, and being satisfied at the end that you are comfortable with your winners. You know, we need those lead judges to be 100% comfortable the winners they've picked are the right winners and they are meritorious for them. Then we have, of course, Easter Anzac Day. Liz gets everything signed and printed and sorted out, and then the dinners begin.
Yeah.
Probably the other thing there to realise is, as individual judges, if one judge doesn't put their scores in for one entry, then that holds up their whole panel. But it's worse than that, because the cross-technology ones go across panels, you know, like the big data one, or whatever we call it, the big data one this year, data insights one. The data insight one can't be done until all the people who have done big data ones, data insight ones, have been judged. So one judge not scoring one entry can hold up a whole stack of winners. So I'd just implore all the judges just to make sure they get through, get them all done, check they've done everything. The system's very straightforward. The system does all the hard work for you, but just to make sure you've put a score in for everyone, and each lead judge goes through and makes sure all their panel members have put their scores in.
Definitely, yeah. And if there are any things that you see, or panel judges that might not add up as well, should be raising it earlier than later as well, because everyone has different backgrounds and experience. So, for example, last year someone had really good experience in the health section, and the claims that someone was making didn't add up. But I think if you're from that health industry, then you would really understand that. But if someone comes from a different side, they might not really know. So it just helps if you do see anything that doesn't make sense or that you're querying, even if you're not a lead judge, definitely raise it to us and then we can investigate it, and that will help us with our reference checking as well.
Thanks, Liz. So that's just a reminder, our goal is to select the best entry in each state. I'm not sure we need to go through this one in detail.
Quite specific.
This is all in the judge's manual. I think probably the issue there, actually, it's probably better on the next slide, Liz, if you go to the next one, please.
Oops. Yep.
So really, the assessment criteria is hard-coded into the system, but essentially, there's, if you like, the 4 bullet points there is really think about how unique the solution is, think about their ability to deliver it. There are some technology-specific things, and then there's the either will it make money or will it deliver value if it's a public sector and government one. So, you know, really the weightings and all those are hard-coded in the system, so you don't have to worry about it. Each section of those 4 sections, you mark them out of 10, and the system will give you a number for each one. You won't, as individual judges or even the lead judge, see the cross-category awards. You know, what the system does, it pulls all those ones out of the individual verticals, if you like, and puts them in. Similarly, in a number of states, there's Premier's Awards. They get pulled out and done separately as well. But, you know, so really all you have to do, you log onto the system, you look at entry number A, and you judge it against those 4 categories.
Yeah.
I think that's all on that one. The student one, the assessment criteria is a little different. The students do, in a lot of cases, really just have something as far as proof of concept. They don't necessarily have a complete solution, and they also get marked on their presentation and organisation. The judge's manual has a lot of detail in the assessment criteria for everybody, so people can look, they can see what the criteria are, they can see the weightings, all that sort of stuff. But essentially, that's the summary that is there. You know, you make sure the kids understand the problem being solved, think about how unique it is. Think about the quality, think about the standards, think about, you know, what's their user experience for their user base, and think about how well they've presented, because you know, at the student level, one of the critical things we believe is really critical for these people is that they can actually sell the solution they're actually talking about. So the better they're presented and organised, the better. The next one is really just scoring. I think, as I said before, Liz will send you log-on details. You do all the scores out of 10, and it doesn't matter whether you judge consistently hard or consistently easy. You just try and be consistent. I have no trouble at all, you know, with people judging people harshly if they think someone's making an outlandish claim or you don't think their solution will work. That's fine. We're out there to find the best solution, and it's got to be the right answer. Reference checking we've talked about as well. It is difficult. It does take a bit of time. So I'd just say to the lead judges, that slot that was in the timeline, just blank out a bit of time in your diaries, because that stuff you typically will have to do during the week. It'll be reference checking people who are obviously customers of the solution. Next slide. This is my judges' tips that were written by someone else, but that's all right. This is what's written. This is written for me. It's perfect. As early as you can, read through them. One of the things that's not there, but I always say to people, it's better if you've got any concerns to raise them early. So if you read through and you think, whatever reason, there's something seriously wrong, go to your lead judge. If a lead judge is concerned, go to your category judge or me. If it doesn't make sense, if something doesn't work, the system doesn't work, yell out quickly. This is advice that it takes 20 to 30 minutes to assess. So spread them out, get them done. You know, sometimes you actually find, I've actually found you need to go back because you actually, if you give someone 8 out of 10 early, you've then got to say, well, this one's a lot better. Is there room to give them more than an 8 out of 10? And maybe there's not. So you might have to go back and make the 8 out of 10 a 7. So you've got room to give the other guy a 9 or whatever it is. And you really should reflect on what they're trying to solve. What is the solution? And the other one that's not written there that I think is important is how unique is this solution really? Yeah. I'm always surprised how many people present and say, this is the only one of these in the world. And I sit there on Google and do a 10-minute search and can find it might not be quite 100% the same, but it's something pretty similar. And you really do need to satisfy yourself a bit that something is unique and it really is different and it really is special. Next steps. This is yours, Liz.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'll be emailing everyone their panel allocations, and I'll be sending just a little document that sort of defines what conflicts of interest are. So if you can just skim through the entrants in your allocated category and just let me know if there's any that you think might be of concern, just let me know. And if Gary and I feel like it's we need to move you and rejig the panels, then we certainly will.
And just so you know, if you have a conflict of interest, doesn't mean you get tossed completely.
Yes.
What we are typically able to do is shuffle you to another panel.
And it may not even be a major like it might not even be an actual conflict of how we define it too. So, but raise it and then we'll take it from there. But we've never really, in my time, said no to someone for judging. We just rejig you guys around. And then I'll also send the judges manual as well. And the next stage after that is I'll be sending everyone their login details to Awards Force. Some people might already have it because you've judged before, so that will be valid. But if you don't remember your password, I can always reset it. So I'll give you instructions on that. And then we should be ready, well, we will be ready to start judging on Wednesday, the 20th of March. So,
but I'd strongly encourage you to log on as soon as you get your details. Just it's that whole story. You know, I'd rather everyone logged on, check they can work, get into the system, all that sort of stuff, in case there's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, if you do try to log in, there's nothing set up for judges. So wait till next week. But yeah, I should be finished by Monday or Tuesday of that setting up. But yeah, I'll be in touch. So I guess just stay tuned till you hear more from me about your panel allocations and getting into awards force.
But I think, as you said before, Liz, I think you've managed to give everyone pretty much, put them in the panel they've wanted.
Yep. I think hopefully everyone will be happy with their allocation.
All right, that's all we've got to say. Has anyone got any questions or concerns or issues?
I think there's a few chats in here. Okay, no, there's no questions in the chat box. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to talk on the mic, or you can put it in the chat if you've got any questions.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. I was waiting for thank you, but.
This is Katie. I joined a little bit late, but caught the bulk of it, so thanks very much.
Thanks, Katie.
That's all right. All right. That sounds like there's no burning concerns. So I'd encourage you, when you get your log on, make sure it works. Just do all the obvious things, and if you can get as many done as early as possible, it's great. And if you've got any concerns, sing out. There's plenty of people to help you.
Great. We've got one question coming in on the chat box.
We'll have a question.
Sarah.
Stuck on, yeah. Here's the meeting works really well. Okay. So Sarah's happy. What I read that to mean, Sarah? You've been judging for a number of years. The meeting works really well. So Sarah's saying she encourages the lead judges to have a meeting off panel and to organise it early and get it in their diaries. Yeah, I think we've discussed this before, and I think it's a good idea. We decided we wouldn't mandate it. I personally think it's a good idea, and I think it's worth doing. If you're a lead judge, especially if you haven't done it before, I think it's definitely worth doing. Early on, you'll get everyone's emails. Just click it together, flick an email out, and even if you just have a 10-minute phone call, yeah, I agree, Sarah. It's not about it. It's worth doing if people have got time to do it. It certainly helps if there's a problem down the track. You've already had a bit of a chat, and people know where they sit. So. All right.
Thanks, Sarah. We've got Graham who's mentioned.
Yeah, it sounds like everyone's okay and saying thank you, and everything seems reasonably on track.
Just got
a new message. Thanks. No. All right. I think we got the positive vibes from you all. Thank you all. We'll see you when we see you. We'll anxiously watch all the scoring coming in. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
everyone.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye. Thank you.